What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Road Reality, and we've got our buddy Dewey, we've got Patrick, and a special guest, Adventure Tomac. So I've got the ADV guys to make sure that Dewey doesn't tell us any tall tales. Boy, that is hard to say. My goodness.
Tell us tall tales.
Yeah, lots of teas.
Yeah,
Lots of teas.
a couple more beers, it'll be really tricky.
Well, I haven't had any beers. I'm drinking water. So, how you doing, Dewey? Where are you at now?
Good. I'm in Paraguay right now, actually. So that's a cool part. The videos will show kind of some of this and me talking about it more, but I've ended up a bunch of places that were never on my original plan to go.
That's awesome.
Because of the people I met along the way, and making plans to meet up with them, and I got nowhere else to be. I'll come to where you're at and come see a different part of the world. So I've been to a few countries that were never originally planned to be part of the trip that I've gotten to go see. Yeah,
All because of people.
all because of people. It's always the people.
I'm guessing that's your favorite part of all of this is the people.
It's been amazing. It's gonna be at some point I'm gonna have to come home, and it's going to be very strange to not be a gas station celebrity.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But so how far behind are your videos from where they last ended up? That last couple of videos were just incredible to where you are now.
That happened in early January.
Holy cow.
Man, I thought I was backlogged.
So there's a lot of videos to still come. The truth is that chances are I will be home and the videos will be going for 6 months to a year after I'm back because I have so much footage. But I don't want to skip out on telling the story. It doesn't need to happen in real time on YouTube, right? I don't want to miss telling the story, so I want to keep incrementing it as it goes. I don't want to try to skip pieces to get stuff out and try to keep it close to real time. They go at whatever pace they go at, and I got behind on them, so there was a couple of gaps where I missed getting the videos out on my normal schedule. So,
but you've got them coming out now, and where you're at now, you're going to be there for a little bit, correct?
Yeah, I will. Well, I don't know exactly how long I'll be here yet. I have not. My motorcycle's at the Honda dealer here, getting a bunch of maintenance and things taken care of.
Dang it!
And
that was one of my questions.
Oh, and yeah, I haven't heard back from him on when it's going to be done, when I can pick it up. So
what you haven't done?
It needs a new timing chain. That's one of the big ones.
Take a drink. I saw the lightning.
Yeah. We didn't explain that yet. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know if the noise canceling got it or not.
No, I heard the thunder.
Yeah. But so the big one is it needs a timing change, and then the coolant, oil, all of that normal maintenance-y stuff.
How much maintenance have you had to do on the bike?
Outside of the routine stuff, I've only had one other kind of problem, and this is kind of related to the timing chain. I had to do the timing chain tensioner in Argentina. It actually completely failed, and I think the couple hundred miles that I rode after the tensioner had broken just to get to the next town, I think probably put undue wear on the timing chain.
Okay.
And so when I was there, the mechanic was able to find enough parts to kind of rebuild my tensioner with springs from another Honda.
Okay.
The tensioner was similar, but the dimensions were different, but he could reuse the spring, and he rebuilt the tensioner and put it back in. And then that got me to here, and it was running okay. But I said, because the next stuff is going to be some really remote areas and things like that. And so while I was here in a big city with a big Honda dealer, I wanted to make sure that the bike got a look over and that I'm taking off for this with a bike in good shape. And
Yeah.
they said that when they checked it, that I needed to do the whole timing chain. So we're just gonna do it. It's not worth trying to come up with an alternate solution or a smaller way to do it. It's just make the bike ready to go. So yeah, that valve adjustment, all of the normal. You know,
Mhm.
I think I've got over 30,000 miles on the bike now.
Wow.
So it's due, especially on a small engine, it's due a lot of that stuff. It's just at
Okay.
that time. So
But it's a Honda, so it runs off like lawnmower parts, right?
I mean, it's amazing when you think about the fact that this motorcycle has basically been at wide open throttle 6 to 8 hours a day for a year. It's still going strong. You know, I go everywhere full throttle on it because you have to, because it's only a 250.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the starter in my truck is bigger than your engine.
Yeah.
Before we went on a little bit further, say hi to everybody in the side chat.
Mm.
Jody, Purple on 3, Jack from Bogey Biker. I saw
I
Jarvis
saw
Bikers
Jarvis.
in
Yeah.
there. And I see Jack has a question. One of my questions, as a matter of fact. Bogey Biker.
The prettiest spot. So,
Got to be Brazil with the nightlife and the ladies he met.
funny enough, it's not. And I have, after I answer the question, I have a bit of a funny story about that. But the one that blew my mind and was the Perito Moreno Glacier in Argentinian Patagonia. There was a couple other places that were stunningly beautiful as well, but you expect them to be stunningly beautiful. And I'd seen pictures of the glacier, and a lot of people go to it, but when you get there in person, it is one of the most awe-inspiring sights that the pictures come nowhere close to doing any justice to being there and hearing the sound of it calving and cracking, and the blue ice just shifts colors and changes. I could have sat there for hours on a bench by myself and just watched and listened to that glacier. It was really, really awe-inspiring. That was one of the most amazing places I went.
I was thinking you might say when you were out in the water with Cristiano and you were going under the rocks and in the caves with that incredibly blue water. That was
Yeah,
spectacular.
that was too. And that's one, again, because you look at places, and even if you pull it up on Google trying to get directions to where you catch a boat, right, it has pictures of what you're going to see because that's their selling point.
Right, yeah.
In some ways, the caves are beautiful, and it's neat to see that contrast in the water and everything. But the boat ride with the mountains in the lake was almost as pretty as the caves were because of the location. Those mountains with that huge lake going right up against it and those sheer cliffs. I mean, that was amazing. Since we already mentioned Brazil, I went to Iguazu Falls as well, which was amazing. But it's a little more touristy. There's more people there. And, when you go to Iguazu, you expect amazing. You know that it's going to be amazing. You know that you're going to the world's biggest waterfall, and that's what it is. And it is amazing. But the Perito Moreno Glacier is just up there because it blew my mind because I wasn't expecting it to be as amazing as it was.
Now you went to a different waterfall that there was basically nobody there way before the Brazil one. That was pretty spectacular too.
Yeah, no, that was one that I keep forgetting because it's been so long. That was, a long time ago in Colombia, where I went to I can't even remember the name of it, the Ventisquela something.
But it was
Yeah,
so
where
remote.
that with the cave up on the cliff, that's a really, really stunning location. And yeah, I was the only tourist in town. I was the only one there. That was a cool experience too.
That's cool. Now, Jody did ask what your next adventure is, but I think she's jumping the gun. You're not even done with this one yet.
It depends on which timeline you're on, Jody. My next adventure on the YouTube timeline, my next adventure on my Instagram account, or my next adventure in real life, because they're all three different. They're on different timetables.
Well, I actually had a couple of questions for Tom, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
How about you ask me? I'm the host. You should ask me permission. Go ahead.
Well, you don't care. How long ago was it that you were with Dewey? It was almost a year, right?
Oh, geez, yeah, it was beginning of last May, right? Right around then. Is that when we hit the border?
Well, we crossed the border on Cinco de Mayo. That one I always remember. That was easy to remember.
Okay,
but I think so. We got together on the 3rd or 4th then, right?
Yep, almost exactly. Well, yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I could have called this the Cinco de Mayo stream, and it would have been, man, we would have gotten like 3 times as many people.
We all could have worn sombreros. It would have been great. We would have had to do it on Sunday, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
How long were you with Dewey when you went, Tom?
They broke up after a month, Patrick.
Yeah, after 3 weeks, I had about enough, and we split. He went south, I went north.
Right. Yeah.
He snores.
I was going to say my night motorcycle guard left for the trip, and look what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. That was a phone call for sure. Yeah, I thought you were messing with me at first, but I could just tell by your demeanor you weren't joking.
I remember that. I remember getting that call too. Man, that was brutal. I felt so bad. All right. Well, Tomek, it's been a year, so you have vacation time built up again. You're going to go back and meet him somewhere?
We've been kind of just chatting, possibly, but I won't have time to actually physically ride. Maybe just fly down somewhere and stay. There's a cool spot that he stayed at the beginning of his trip, I believe, Donkey Sunrise. I'm kind of eyeing that and watching their Instagram account. Seems like a good spot to be, and I can actually probably fly in almost directly from Colorado.
Nice.
Maybe one, switch of a plane and be there.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, I have to ask this because it happened to you. Tell us about the accident.
Whew, yeah, the accident. So this was in La Paz. So it's very close to Cabo San Lucas on the very tip of Baja. And it was just a case of misfortunes in La Paz, at least for me. And Dewey probably, but at that point, Dewey probably wanted just to take off from there and leave me. I was, back alleys. I got bit by a dog. We hit the beach. I got stung by a stingray, and the icing on the cake, I smashed into a pickup truck on a one-way street.
Oh,
Still have some battle scars from that.
Oh, wow.
Geez.
One day I didn't wear my jacket when we were out and about because this was literally a 3-block ride to grab lunch and 3 blocks to get back.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of blood in the video and pictures, and you kept saying, "Oh, I'm all right."
Yeah, he kind of is in that high adrenaline stage of what the hell just happened.
Right. Well, it's good that you're all right. Were there any like repercussions from that? Like any problems down the road?
Not at all. Besides a kinked up handlebar for the rest of the trip.
Okay.
What kind of kink? The foot fetish or what?
Yeah. Looks like I found a shop and we got it somewhat, I guess, semi-fixed. But no repercussions, and it went smoothly because I actually did have insurance coverage for that part of the trip.
That's kind of what I was leaning for.
Yeah, plus $100 I spent. It was for the whole month in Mexico, and I went minimal of just liability.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a funny process, at least in Mexico. I don't know about the other, south of there, but I had the accident. Of course, the guy was asking me, you want me to call an ambulance? I'm like, no, it's okay. And we didn't really know how it worked. So I guess he told us, well, you call your insurance company. He called his insurance company. I called mine. And then the two insurance adjusters show up and they do it on the spot where they kind of figure everything out. And within, I don't know what you would say, like an hour it took, Dewey.
Yeah, I mean, the guys, I was surprised. The adjusters showed up in about half an hour for both of them to get there. And then
That's awesome.
And it was over with, but it was and of course it was about halfway through the trip, or at least my trip.
What I was completely amazed was I did not know that one guy on a Tenere could do that much damage to a truck at 12 miles an hour.
Yeah, this was literally, me pulling out of a one-way street onto another one-way street, making a right-hand turn. The hotels in that block I'm turning onto. I look to my left. I don't see anybody. I go right and just because it's literally a turn right, a turn left. I just turn without looking again. I just sideswiped that. It was like a Nissan Frontier. Let's just say it was a full-size Titan, and I just kind of smashed off of it and hit the ground.
That's why you did so much damage, because it wasn't a Hilux. If it was a Hilux, you would have been just totaled on your bike.
Yeah, no, I smashed the guy's passenger side window. I bent the front fender, and I scraped the whole body all the way down to the bed.
Wow.
So you're now considered an international menace.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed back, at least to that town.
Sounds like you should be playing rugby.
It was more of like, what the hell happened kind of situation, like any accident, right? But I was just bummed it was so far south, away from home. But everything within a couple days, a couple of tequila shots that afternoon, that night, and we actually took off the next day on the ferry to the mainland of Mexico. So it was like, or 2 days later, right? Because I got the bike fixed the next day.
Right.
I think it was 2 or 3 days later that we headed out. I can't remember, but
one last question for Tomek. How tempted were you to just keep on going with Dewey for even longer?
Oh, after just got the flow of the whole outside the country traveling. It was my first time actually riding outside the country, so it was awesome just kind of getting my foot a little bit wet going down to Mexico, and it was just good having someone there with you, right, through that at least so many miles that I did. Yeah, I would love just to keep going once you kind of get in the flow, and it's just fun, it's just something else, and I got comfortable with it, right? You hear a lot of stories of danger, this, and of course there is some areas you shouldn't go or be, but I would say
you can get your bike stolen.
Yeah, bike stolen. Yeah.
Don't go to where Dewey went.
That was an unlucky encounter with a whole combination of factors. I think the biggest danger we had in our time in Mexico, Tomek, was the number of guys giving us beers at gas stations and wanting to have beers with us.
Yeah. the rancheros.
You American beer.
I mean that travels north. I have neighbors that do that too. Luckily, I'm not on the bike.
Yeah, because it's hard because you want to be nice and you want to, talk to them and take them up, but you can't be drinking, and then riding around Mexico.
Yeah, you'd have to have a cup holder. You need a cup holder on your bike.
Yeah. How many countries have you been to now, Dewey?
He's got to count. While he counts, everybody in the side chat, guess how many countries Dewey's been to. Don't answer yet, Dewey. Don't answer. I want everybody in the side chat to type their answer in. Let us know how many you think there is, and we'll come back in 1 minute and see if you're right. In the meantime, how do you take care of your beard when you're in South America? Do you go to a barber on a regular basis?
I have gotten several, and when I go full. You see in the videos when it happens. It's night and day. I go into a barber shop and I get the full Latin American haircut, straight razor shave, the hot towel, and you lean back and let them do their thing.
Nice.
It's actually kind of a nice way to spend an hour sometimes. It's to just go and relax and let somebody give you a straight razor shave.
I bet.
That doesn't sound relaxing to me.
No. And funny enough, to this would just unsettle you even more, Patrick. I have found there's a correlation between how good the shave is and how good the haircut is, and the number of face and neck tattoos that the barber has.
The
And
higher the number of tattoos, the better he does.
the more tattoos all over the face and the neck, and you kind of that Latin American look with the way that the Latin Americans like to cut their hair and keep it really nicely trimmed and well done, and the face tattoos. The more of that look the guy has, the better the haircut and the shave have been.
Nice. All right, now we have four guesses. Jarvis and Ty, they both put in 9. Evil Rick said 12, and Bogey said 14. Dewey, did you finish counting?
I did.
I think. Did you have to take your shoes off to do it?
I had to come real close.
So what's the answer, bud?
The answer is 10. I'm in my 10th country right now.
Awesome. Well, Jarvis and Ty each get 10 internets for their close guess. You can expect those deposited 3 to 5 weeks from now.
Well, I think we only give them 9 internets for their guess.
Okay, Dewey's taking the Dewey tax. Jarvis, we'll convert Jarvis's into Canadian internets. He'll get like 2.
No, it'll be like 200 Canadian internets.
Oh yeah, 200 goes the other way. That's right.
Yeah. Now, somebody had asked what your, the most beautiful site was and all that, and your favorite place. What was the most meaningful to you? The most meaningful site, and why?
Oh, there's kind of 3 that come to mind, and all for very different reasons. And I'm not sure which one I'm going to count as the most meaningful yet. So I've got to think this through. So I'm going to list them for you, and then I'll have figured out which one is probably the most meaningful for me. The Hand in the Desert, the Mano de Desierto, in northern Chile, and I did a video on that. And
that was the one with the monologue, right?
Yep, that was the
You're
one.
riding along the straight road. Yeah, I told him I'm gonna pat my own back. I previewed that video and I said, you just leave the whole thing as is. Just run what you brung with it, and it'll be great. And he did, and it flopped as usual. So
yeah. Well, but no, I wasn't sure if I should edit that to try to make it a little more exciting visually, and kind of but kind of leave the audio somehow or break it up. But I just left it because it was, I think, raw and what I was going through at the time. And I think that's important sometimes too. So that was very meaningful for me. If you haven't seen it, go watch the video. I explain why it was meaningful to me and what it meant to me to be there. That was one of them. Getting to the end of the Carretera Austral, which is in the video that we were talking about earlier, my Carretera Austral video. That just the joy of sharing that with new friends, and the excitement that Cristiano had, and you can see it in the video just how excited he is. And what you didn't see, you hear it for like 2 seconds at the very end as I'm doing the outro, and I say it's Cristiano and I, and you hear, if you listen carefully, you hear hey, we're here too. And that was Andre and Alessandra standing looking at me as I'm holding my camera out doing this and filming that. But so the 4 of us got to the very, very end of the Carretera together, and we ran into him. That's another thing that didn't make the video because I didn't really have a good way to explain it in a quick and succinct way that flowed with it really well. But they had taken an earlier ferry than Cristiano and I, because Cristiano and I were doing some things, and Cristiano had a bike problem. We got delayed, and we got his bike fixed, and so they were ahead of us. So,
a Harley with a problem?
Yeah, believe it or not, hard to believe.
This is my shocked face.
Yeah, but so Cristiano and I were just riding, and they had gone and found a hotel or a cabana to rent, and dropped some stuff off, and then went to go to the end of the road, and we actually caught them on the road. We didn't plan it in advance. And so we caught him about a mile and a half before the actual end. So we actually rode that last mile and a half in, all of us together.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so yeah, so getting to do that with the four of us all there was really, really special and very meaningful, because as you know, we talked when we started the live, you know, is the people that I've met along the way have made it such a great experience, and that was one of them, and really, really meaningful. The other one, and it's funny, it's in my mind because I'm editing the video right now, is when I got to the very most southern point that you can go. And it'll be a spoiler alert a little bit, but I was there by myself. There was nobody else there. And I kind of realized that I'm the farthest person south in the world, other than scientists in Antarctica. And I was there by myself, and that every mile that I had ridden to that point had been a mile farther from home. And no matter how long it takes me to finally get back home, that's a turning around point. And every mile I ride now is 1 mile closer to being back home. So you kind of feel the true distance when you realize how far away from home you are. And
Thanks, Joe.
So that one was meaningful. So all three of those, I think, were kind of the most meaningful points that I've had so far on the trip.
Okay. And then the second part of the question?
What was the second part?
They were all meaningful, but what was the most meaningful?
Oh, the most meaningful. I think the southern point was really the most meaningful. It was a really interesting kind of short. It's, you know, I'm there by myself. There wasn't a lot of time. There wasn't anything to do but kind of look around and pat myself on the back. But it was a really interesting experience to have in my own head, and I have those memories, you know, of what it was like to get there. And I talk about it a little bit, and I'm going to try to share as much as I can, and by what I have on video in the video of what it was like as best I can. But yeah, that's one. And I don't think until you do something where you ride the kind of distance that I did to get there, you don't kind of know what it feels like to kind of get there and look around and go, okay, you know,
I get it.
I'll turn around and do it back the other way.
Yeah. Was it tempting to ship the bike back from there and just be like, that's it?
No, not a chance. Unless I had no other option, I wouldn't want to. I think, you know, there's a lot of people that do. There's a lot of people that go very few people go to where I went to this point. And that's the other part is, you know, this is not the traditional end where people end.
This involves horses.
Yeah, I went to a place that not many people go to that is actually farther away farther south than the normal end. But you know, I think for me, there's so much to see on the way back that not doing it would be like cheating myself.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have to make choices. You know, they don't. If you're going to go do Patagonia, you may not get to go see Brazil and Iguazu because it's so far away. And because I'm doing both, up and down, I can go down one side and see it and come back up the other side and get to see kind of all of it too.
Well, I got to say, for me, my favorite video so far was when you finished the Austral and the way it ended with Cristiano and the TV crew. That was just so fun. Everything about that was just all your emotions and the joy from you, and maybe even more so Cristiano. I mean, he was just so excited, like a little kid in a candy store.
Oh yeah, he's a trip.
And that was so fun to watch, and I really enjoyed that. But I have a feeling the one you're editing now might end up becoming my favorite. But I kind of wanted to ask you two, Tom and John, and everybody in the side chat, what has been your favorite video so far? Now, the
I
last
haven't
two were
watched
awesome.
Dewey's videos, so I wouldn't know.
Wait, Dewey puts out videos?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't watch that stuff.
Link in the description.
Right.
It's in the side chat, actually. If you scroll up a little bit, it's in the side
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah, I saw that.
For me, the best one is one of the latest ones with the voiceover. Actually, I don't think it's been released, but he's got some bangers just coming out soon. If you haven't, his link is in the video description for Dewey. Well, for all these guys, but really, Dewey, you're doing the voiceover work now, and it's really showing the progression and the practice that you've put into creating your videos. And I find that the voiceover adds a lot. Like Ty was saying with the documentary style, it really adds a lot to watching your videos, makes them even more engaging, and kind of makes the scenery pop, because you're talking about the area you're in and what it means to you. And I find that just absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to do more of it. They've definitely been quite a bit more popular in my normal, moto vlog style.
Yeah. I'm going to send you my equalizer settings so we can get that cinematic voiceover tone in there.
Yeah. I need to hire a voice actor instead of.
I am available from time to time.
I really enjoyed that last one quite a bit, but I really enjoyed Dewey's videos from Peru, which he hated the actual ride, but I enjoyed the videos. It was just such a surreal landscape. That kind of stood out to me.
Yeah.
Southern Peru,
water, and then like
it's the kind of middle of nowhere, just nothing.
And Scott,
where the hand was, the big hand that you took photos of, that was Peru.
Yeah. And Scott said the same thing. He thought that was his favorite. And so there's a variety of different ones, and for different reasons that make them favorites of people. I mean, some of yours, the scenery is just so spectacular, and you put the drone up and have these just incredible shots, and some are like up close scenery, like the caves and the blue water. And then for us, because we know you, it's more of the personal part coming out that makes it even more enjoyable. I like that the hand in the desert. I mean, when you were sharing a lot of how you got there, and then the different times where you're talking, even with Cristiano, where it was just pure fun. It's just cool to see you and your emotions, and not just, hey, I'm riding, look at this. It's to me, I like that because it's you.
Yeah, it's hard. I made the very conscious decision early in the trip. Well, I made the decision really before I left on the trip that I wasn't going to be that person who pulls out a camera while I'm trying to talk to somebody and try to film it, because I think that takes away from that moment and the genuineness of it. So I purposely don't film interactions with people. The only ones that I get are ones where I forget to turn my camera off or something and I still have my helmet on. That's some of the stuff with Cristiano. I'm on the bike while we're talking, and that's why a lot of that stuff is there. Some of the other ones, Cristiano's on there because at that point we weren't, we'd had a lot of genuine conversations, so it was okay to pull the camera out. It's not like I'm going to lose that moment with Cristiano forever. We'd already become friends. So it was a little different. I felt okay doing that. Like on the boat, asking him what he thought about it. I was okay doing that. But yeah, generally I just don't film the personal interactions. So I'm kind of left with whatever footage I have, and then trying to make the story and share the story as best I can with what I have.
And that brings up a question from the side chat. Bogey wants to know how much a factor it was with the language barrier.
It varies.
It was easier when Tomek was with you.
Well, yeah, it was easier when Tomek was with me, but I speak now, my Spanish is quite a lot better than it was.
It was easier with me because I could do sign language, food, sleep.
Yeah. The food, the hotels, the gas, even the basic questions now, I know what people are asking. So I can actually have some, I can actually even talk to people a little bit. There's always a limit to what I can say. Especially now, I understand quite a bit, so it's really easy for me to figure out almost everything that people say to me. The hard part is I don't always know how to respond, because then my vocabulary to form it all back together is not there, but I can understand. But then I got a rude awakening of what it was like back in when I, kind of like when Tomek and I crossed into Mexico, because when I crossed into Brazil, they speak Portuguese, not Spanish.
Great.
And I was back at square one for quite a bunch of time in Brazil. You'll see at the videos, Andre was with me. And so when Andre is with me, then it's easy because he knows it all. He speaks the language, obviously. And, but when I was on my own, some of the words are similar to Spanish words. Some of them are not even close. And, so a lot of times I would try to use Spanish as best I could to explain what I wanted and hope they understood me, because the chances of them understanding me in Spanish was better than it was in English.
That kind of brings up another question. What percentage of people that you ran into do you think spoke English? Or at least some English?
Probably 10 to 15%, I would say.
Not much.
Yeah. It really varies by regions and where you are. A lot of times when you're in bigger cities, there's people that speak English more regularly than in the smaller areas. And a lot of the small places, they won't. And then with the motorcyclists, because you have a lot of people who tend to be a little more affluent because they're riding motorcycles and traveling, and they're also traveling, so they have kind of a bigger view of the world, tend to have a little bit more English skills too. So sometimes more of the motorcyclists that I interact with will know more than maybe the average person that I come across at at a grocery store, or a market, or a gas station, things like that.
Well, that's cool. Is it snowing there yet?
Who's that directed at? To me?
Yeah.
No, right now I'm in Paraguay. It was 96 degrees yesterday, and it was very hot this morning, but now it's thundering out there behind me. So the rain is cooling it down into the 70s. But yeah.
Well, let's ask Tomek. Is it snowing there, Tomek?
It snowed last week.
Wow.
Believe it or not. Yeah, we may see another light snowstorm up in the mountains, but I hope this is it, because the weather's been up and down.
For the people that don't know, you're from Colorado. Whereabouts in Colorado?
Northern Colorado on the eastern slope. So I guess Loveland, Fort Collins, about 3 hours south of Cheyenne, Wyoming.
There you go.
So
okay. Yeah, I figured there might be some people in the side chat that didn't know that.
A few, probably a few. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of weird here. The temperature's been up and down. The rain and wind have been up and down. We've already had several 90-degree days.
That's crazy.
It's kind of bonkers.
Yeah, I'm south of you, and we haven't hit 90 yet. Today was close. We got out in the mid-80s.
It was 90 here today.
You in Paraguay or city?
What was that?
What city are you in?
I'm in Asuncion. I'm in the capital.
Okay. I may know someone in that area, so I'll have to see if he's back down. Mario, he actually came and randomly messaged me one day. He was in Colorado working. Somehow he found me through Instagram or YouTube, but he lives in Paraguay. And he actually has a CRF. I don't know if 250, 300, one of those. So I'll have to see if he's in the country.
Well, yeah, or even if he's not, if you ask him, I cannot find tires to save my life.
Tires, okay.
Yeah, find him tires.
I just talked today. I talked to the Michelin regional supplier, and they said no.
What's the size? Is it a funky size? Was it 140 something?
It's I mean, the stock is a 120 80 18, but I can fit a 130 18. I can fit or a 130 80. I can fit a 120 90. They don't have anything, so I have a plan B, but Yeah, I'm basically to the point. That's why I'm here. Is the bike needed that? I need the tires desperately. Like I probably can't go more than 300 or 400 miles from here.
Oh wow.
On the tires I have, the front is down to nothing.
Jody has the solution for you.
Bicycle tires. They'd
Well-
last longer than what I have now.
Well, Tomek saying that, you know, he was talking to somebody who might actually be there. That made me think about, you went to some hotel and you were trying to speak in Spanish to the guy that was there, and he asked you if he, well, don't you speak English? And it turns out you guys came from within a few miles of each other, right?
Yeah, very, very close to each other. That was at a campground in Chile. And yeah, he grew up on the east side of Portland. Same as me, just different neighborhoods. But yeah, I mean, you could pop in a car and I could probably go from my house to his in 10 or 15 minutes.
That's crazy. You're all the way down in Chile and you run into somebody that was your neighbor.
Yeah, he married a Chilean woman, moved down there, and so then and they have the campground. And
Yeah, it is a small world, Jody. That's for sure. You know, that's kind of what's going to happen to you. You're going to meet somebody down there. You're going to end up getting married, and you're going to move.
yeah, if Alessandra gets her way, she'll find one of her friends for me. Yeah, unfortunately, that was one of those. I didn't end up going to where they live because the consensus was that riding my motorcycle into their city was probably not a safe choice.
Oh, okay.
Because of in that part of Brazil, the bicycle or the motorcycle like carjackings where they kind of violently take your motorcycle is more common, and my bike stands out and is different and unique and special, and
you don't want to take that chance.
Said it's not a good idea. So that's why Andre came to meet me and ride with me.
Kind of like a DRZ in Mexico stands out.
Yeah, well, the DRs, I mean, they're popular anywhere you go. They're popular in the States too. So, I don't know. I don't know that it would have mattered whether it was shiny or not. The gate that I thought was going to be locked was open, and I didn't lock the bike up because I thought the gate was going to be locked that was open. It's a hard lesson to learn. It's a hard way to learn it. But that could have as easily happened anywhere in the world, in any city, if you left a motorcycle unlocked.
Yep.
So now I lock it up every hotel I go to, whether it looks secure or not, whether they say the gate's going to be open or closed or locked, whatever. I still put a lock or two on the bike.
Mm-hmm. Now I think 3 out of the 4 of us have all had DR 650s, haven't we? Tomek, you had one?
Kind of. It's I guess it's brother or sister KLR 650.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Very similar, but some.
Oh yeah, just got a little more plastic on it.
Less horsepower, more weight.
The reason I didn't get the KLR was because when I bought it, the guy asked how much experience I had on dirt roads. I said 0. He said, well, then you're going to drop it. And he said, if you drop the KLR, you're going to break the plastic. It's cost you $1,000 to fix it. You drop the DR, there's no plastic to break. And he was right. I dropped it a lot.
Yeah, that's the learning. That's what I told John. That's what I told Road Reality just last night, 2 nights ago.
Last night.
I said the way to learn is get over your fear of dropping it. Just go drop that thing. You don't know how far you can go lean until you find the ground.
Right.
He was making fun of my lean angle is like this, and I can go to like that before it scrapes hard parts. And I lean it about this far. So yeah. It's all good. I ride conservatively.
Yeah.
Well, look, in my videos, I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm drinking coffee, smoking cigars, talking to 17 cameras. It all adds up. There's only so much brain power left for motorcycling.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing to be putting out there. I'm riding this motorcycle and my concentration is everywhere but.
It's not everywhere but. Safety's job 3, so there's only 2 things ahead of it.
Yep.
See, Jarvis says it's fine.
Yeah,
no, it is, and you've got to ride within your comfort zone, and you can't go from A to D you've got to work yourself through A, B, and C to get there.
Yeah.
So it's you got to increment it and work on it. It's I just got to tease you about it.
That's fine. I have a thick skin.
Yeah. We knew it was coming at one point.
Yeah, one point. That's it. I like Scott's comment. I love coffee, but can't ride and drink coffee. I was riding the other day, and this video will come out in July, I guess. But I could actually hear my cadence speeding up and the space between the words getting shorter and shorter the more coffee I drank. It was just going straight into my bloodstream, and the caffeine was just like right to my head. And it's I can't wait to edit that footage.
Speaking of, what's your favorite food that you've experienced down there that you didn't before you left for the trip? What's your favorite food in another country?
Not counting. So I found a cut of steak that they do in Argentina that is not common or not sold in the U.S. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
Well, there were two cuts. I don't know if that counts, but that's probably getting awfully close to home. That's not the exotic answer you were looking for, I don't think.
True.
Ooh. I think honestly the best food is the stuff in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anywhere in South America the food is quite like Mexico. I think real Mexican food is cool and special, and it's so varied. There's a lot of stuff. Somewhere on my phone, I have a picture of when I was with Carla and Gustavo when we went back to talk to the police one day. We stopped at a taco shop, and Gustavo ordered something. I looked at it when I got there, and I was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, so he ordered me one." And instead of using a traditional tortilla to make like a quesadilla or something like that, they sprinkle the cheese out on a flat grill, and they caramelize it really nice and crispy. And then they stuff it with the meat and all the stuff, and then use that fried cheese like as a shell. It was fantastic.
That sounds great. And I don't even like that kind of stuff. It sounds cool.
Let's go back to the steak, though, Dewey. You never answered what the actual cut of the steak was.
It's called vacío.
What part of the animal is it?
It's a flank, so it's basically, if you take a flank and a strip, we normally separate them and take that fat out and then take the membrane off the one side. And they leave it as one cut with the layer of fat between the two thin, the flank and the strip there. And then they leave the membrane on it because they cook everything over wood coals, and so they put that membrane downside and cook it longer on that side so that until it basically melts and burns away the membrane, and then it's cooked through the rest of the meat. And then they just flip it to crisp the other side, and they slice it into strips. It's a really good, it's a really interesting cut, but because there's so much fat in between those two layers, it stays really, really, really juicy. Okay. And then you cook it longer, almost like you would do a brisket, where you don't do like medium rare. You cook it until it's tenderized everything, and that fat's rendered into the meat. It's really, really good.
Sounds it. Now, what's the worst food you've eaten? I know you got sick, but was that food related?
No. The bad sick that I got was dengue fever. That comes from mosquito bite.
Okay.
It's a mosquito borne. It's in the malaria family, but it's not malaria.
Did you not get a vaccine for that?
There is no vaccine for it.
Oh.
It's a huge problem in all of South America. There's bug repellent shortages because the outbreak is so bad in several countries. But yeah, that happened, and I just got lucky that it was when I was able to be stopped for that long to just be sick and get over it.
Get over it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask then. Hold on, let me ask a question. It's on point, Patrick. Okay, give me a break. I know you don't talk money, but are you under or over budget?
I'm under budget, especially places like Argentina is quite reasonable, Same with Paraguay. Uruguay was pretty expensive, and Chile was expensive. But in Argentina, it's it was actually quite easy to be under budget. And
So you might
eat
extend
well
your
and eat well
your
here.
trip then.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by extend it. The plan was always to go as long as I could. So
Well, I
I'm
know
gonna go as long as I can.
you originally started with like an 18-month timeline.
Yeah, I think somewhere probably between 18 and 2 years. It depends on some things. If I am able to stay in Colombia, maybe for a little while and work something out where I help out at Donkey Sunrise, to kind of offset some costs, that can extend it. Depending on what happens with going back through Mexico, if I stay and am able to stay and hang out with Carla and Martin and the people there for a little while and find a way to do it really, really reasonably instead of paying for a hotel every night or something like that, that will extend it as well. So there's still a lot to be sorted out and find out what happens. I'll get back when I get back, and I've got to be aware of what the weather's going to be when I get back into the States too, and what my route will be. It's not like I can cross the Rockies in January or February.
True.
It'd be hard to. It can be hard to get back to Oregon, that time of year on a motorcycle.
Well, you can spend the winter working your way up the East Coast. I think you know enough of us now.
But your weather gets bad though, right? I mean, I can't come to Maryland in February, chances are.
Right.
Ish.
So that kind of, after my worst food, and then I was going to do a Jody question to ask about coffee. My last question was going to be the whole Mexico. Can you get back in? How's that all going?
I haven't heard a thing from them. I dropped the paperwork off in San Diego on my way to Florida.
I remember that way back when.
Yeah, on the way.
On the way.
And that was early September, I think. My mind.
I can't even remember now.
Early September. And they said it takes up to a year. We'll let you know when it's processed, one way or the other. And I haven't heard anything yet, but it hasn't been a year.
So you don't know if you can go back to Mexico.
I don't know if I can go back to Mexico. That's part of why I'd like to, that's why I'm going slow and seeing stuff in South America, because if I can't go back, it doesn't do me any good to go from Colombia to Panama if I can't go through Mexico.
Right.
Because you can't go very far. Those are very small countries before you get to Mexico. And then I would have to ship the bike twice. I'd have to ship it once to Panama and then again from Guatemala or Costa Rica or something. And so that just doesn't make sense to do. So if I'm not allowed back, then I'm going to have to I'm going to ship the bike from Colombia probably back to Miami or something and do the East Coast and then back across or do something. But that all depends on what happens with the Mexico paperwork. So there's multiple reasons, but that's one of the big reasons that I'd like to kind of stay in South America until I've heard something back one way or the other.
So I need to send some money to Mexico to get them to not approve the paperwork, so then you could just ship it to Miami and ride up the East Coast and come see me. Great.
As long as I can find a reasonable way to do it budget wise, I'd like to come back up through Texas and then go to the East Coast and see you and then work my way back. The hardest part is that the most expensive part of the trip by far anywhere is being in the US, and especially in the eastern US where, the campgrounds are trickier. You don't have BLM land. You need reservations for a lot of campgrounds in advance. You can't just show up because they're booked and busy because there's not a lot of them. And that's the hardest part is I could go to the East Coast for a month. I could spend 4 or 5 months in South America.
Right.
Yep. So done.
So then my next question is coffee.
God, this guy comes up with a lot of questions.
I'm asking this for
Yep. That's better. Now we can ask the real good questions.
He was going to ask the coffee question. That's the one thing that you're known
That's a cat.
for, John. The one
That's a
thing
cat. That's not coffee. Yeah.
I asked the question, what favorite coffee and worst coffee, and what's the coffee that you think Jody most needs to try?
Ooh, best coffee was actually really early on because I went to the. This didn't make a video. I don't know if
No video.
I didn't put it. I didn't put this in a video, so I don't know. I don't know if I even posted about it on Instagram. I may not have. Well, I was in Bogota. While the bike was being shipped from Miami.
Coffee.
I went to. I just happened to be there the same weekend that the Colombian Coffee Expo was there, and so basically
Awesome.
all these boutique coffee growers and roasters and to everybody from Juan Valdez was there. They had a huge booth. I mean, the big names, the huge coffee companies. But then they had a lot of small, family farms. And one of the areas, one of the really nice coffee growing regions, they bought a big booth as a cooperative, and all of the different families that kind of have their own little fincas that you can come visit and do their own boutique roasting and all of that stuff. They were all in the same area, and you could just kind of go around and try all the coffees from all the different fincas and all of this from this specific region. And there's one, I have the card somewhere. I have the woman's business card back in my luggage for when I come back through Colombia, because she said we need 2 or 3 days advance notice before you're going to be here so that we can make sure there's room and have everything ready. But you can come walk around, drink coffee, see how the whole process works, stay at the farm for a day or 2 or 3 or 4, however long you want. So that's my list. But that coffee was absolutely the best that I had.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it was my motorcycle was still on its way from Miami. I hadn't even hit the road on the motorcycle. Yeah.
So, do you know if they ship coffee? Because you'll have to send Jody the card so she can order some.
We'll look. Yeah, I'll message Jody after the live stream. I'll get the card and I'll look at and see if they have a website or an email, and I can send Jody their email, or at least, and she can email them and ask if she's interested.
Oh, she's interested. Trust me.
Yeah.
She likes her coffee.
Oh, I know, because I've been one of the lucky people that has gotten Purple on 3 coffee.
Nice.
And yes, it was very, very good. It didn't last long because it was so good that I.
Yeah. Well, I don't drink
the same.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee, but I've had some of her candy. Oh, that stuff.
Her candy does.
Fantastic.
Her candy doesn't last long either, and her candy goes really well with her coffee. If you want to know the truth, you can have both at the same time. They go together well.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
He gets halfway to his destination and realizes he left the bike at home.
Yeah, her PA bark is just fantastic.
It is.
Tomek, have you had Jody's Pennsylvania bark?
I have. I was one of the lucky ones to get a package of the bark.
Oh, well, I will remove the one guy here that has
it.
Hey,
I actually got something over here. Jody.
A rock. Nice. What's on the other side?
In the shack.
I love it.
It's Jody's
the other side. Is the other side you go ride your bike?
Yeah.
Yep. I have one over on the other side.
Do you have one, Dewey?
I do. I have one, just not with me because I didn't bring it on the trip. I didn't want to risk damaging it or anything like that. It's one of those. It's there with my special. I have a whole. Well, Jody and Tom both been to my house. And I had a whole table with a bunch of really cool different travel things, and actually my Jody's rock was right up there on the table with those. It goes in a special spot.
and okay, then I'll remove the guy that doesn't have a rock.
Wait a minute, John. If you can hear us, you're going to have to remove the guy that's not ridden with Tommy and Jody.
I haven't been on that either. Yeah, and you know what? Jody says there will be PA bark at VAM. And you know what? I got to ride 400 miles to do it. I believe she visited all you people and gave you the bark.
Well, she rode her motorcycle like 4,500 miles to.
I know. She delivers to everybody but me. I'm only 200 and some miles away from her, I think.
Actually, mine wasn't delivered. Mine was delivered, but not by her.
The
I
post
met them and
office?
rode with them long before she sent me the bark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got the PA bark. But she didn't. I mean, she'd been on the road, right? She didn't have PA bark to give me when she came to visit me, but she had sent me some. It was actually delivered by one of Patrick's former coworkers.
Right.
Oh, I'll remove the guy that's retired. And so Jody, I'm just giving you a hard time. It's all in good fun, okay? Because she asked me to stop, so I'll stop. Patrick, you're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm watching my
Scott's
son
funny.
work on his motorcycle.
Billy, what's your how long you think you're going to be down in that area? A couple more days, week, 4 days?
Until my bike is done at the Honda dealer.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure.
I mean, I'll be here. I'll be here till at least Sunday,
Okay.
but I don't know how far into next week. It kind of depends on what happens with the bike. But I have another. I met another rider. We've actually met up now, I think 3 or 4 times. We just end up in the same places, and he is already bringing me some spare drone parts because I crashed the drone. They'll this another spoiler alert is there's going to be a chunk without drone footage because I crashed the drone.
Do you have the footage of the crash?
It was pretty unspectacular. It was just windy, a little bit windy. It was like on the cusp of maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And I was dumb and I went to launch it basically like 15 inches from my motorcycle. Like I was standing like right next to it and with my top box there. And it started to power up and the wind caught it and there was nowhere for it to go and correct and it just flew into the motorcycle.
That's the second wreck on that thing, isn't it?
No,
Because you
I
flew
think it might be the third.
Because I know you flew it into some bushes or something, and another rider had to go get it.
Yeah, but he had to go back to the U.S. and I actually had some drone parts shipped to him in the U.S. and he's flying them back and we're going to meet up. But he said he can also check tires on the airplane on his way if we need to. So
ooh, nice.
I think that might be the actual solution. But then I've got to get to meet him, and then we got to put the tires on or pay somebody to go, do that. So, but it's not that big of a deal. I'll figure a solution out one way or the other.
I know you mentioned Michelin, but does anybody else make a tire for that bike?
Yeah, and nobody else stocks it. Michelin is the only one that I could find a big regional vendor for. The rest of the tires are really hard to find.
I got to ask
something.
I got to ask Jody and Travis. Are you coming anywhere near Western North Carolina, either one of you? Because they're both. Travis is going down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Jody and I'm assuming Tommy's going with her down to Florida. Just curious if they're coming near me, I can meet up with them and take a ride. Uh-oh. I silenced everybody.
We're all waiting for Jody's response, and then there's a lag time.
I know the lag is bad. It's like they're on the moon and it has to travel out there and back. And I don't know what the latency's up with, but it's every live stream. They all do that.
Dewey, what are you drinking there? It looks like a Dale's Pale Ale.
No, it's a
Pilsner.
Pilsen.
Oh, Pilsen. It's been throwing me off.
Yeah. Classica.
Yep. They're going to be in Florida before Mother's Day. So
Nice.
On the way back, maybe.
It's La Tintica Cerveza Paraguaya. So that's right on the top.
Authentic lager.
You know what we can do? Where's Dewey? There we go. Dewey, show us the can.
I don't know if this.
Oh, yeah. Cerveza Paraguay. There you go. Authentic Paraguayan Cerveza. Here. Yes, very cool. Now I don't know how to get it back. There we go.
Just real quick, Jody, send me a text if you do come up anywhere near here.
Okay. So we have that. Goodbye, Patrick.
Hey, now.
He walked away. Hey, Dewey, what's available for beers down there? They have a wide variety.
Yeah, I mean, it varies really big country to country. Budweiser's everywhere, obviously. If you like Budweiser, you can get that anywhere.
No, good beer.
But well, so Argentina, for example, has a lot number of craft breweries actually. So if you like craft, that's everywhere. But there's a couple of kind of bigger craft style beers that you can get. Patagonia is everywhere. So if you want IPAs or ambers, things like that.
Nice.
And they're all over South America, not just Argentina or Chile. But a lot of it's more the light lagers, and then varying degrees of what kind of craft breweries they might have. Some places have more than others. I had a really good one 2 nights ago. There's a little brewery 5 or 6 blocks from my hotel, and I walked down to it, and they actually had a really, really good beer. So I was really impressed. It was great.
Is the proof any higher?
Probably not. It's probably pretty similar. These are meant to be, drunk on a beach in mass quantities. They're probably 4.5%, similar to beer, back in the States. Scott
wants to know if you have an Untapped account.
I do, but I haven't checked anything in probably 5 years. Yeah. I used to check in because I'm from Portland, right? We're Beervana. So
where I live,
check in all my beers, but
where I live here in Asheville, they actually took the title away from Oregon for a little bit. They Beer City. We actually had more microbreweries than you did for a little while. I don't know if it's still the case.
Per capita, you had more, not more.
It's a showdown.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I don't drink beer either. So
yeah.
What do you drink, Patrick?
Gatorade.
Oh, yeah. Nope. Water and coffee. That's all I've had in months.
Yep. Gatorade and milk.
Ugh, I don't do milk.
Yeah, I drink. There's 3 of us in my house. We go through 4 gallons in less than a week.
Good gracious. I have 2 small boys, and they go through 2 gallons a week. It's going to get expensive.
Yep. But yeah,
cheaper than beer, if we're really honest.
It sure is.
Yeah, this is true.
And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think too many people pour beer in their cereal in the morning, right?
There's a few.
Yeah, I've met a few.
All right, Patrick, what other questions you got? I know you got a list over there.
I'm done. I went through my list. The only thing I didn't get an answer to was the worst food.
Oh, the worst food. That's tricky because the stuff that I know I'm not going to like, I don't order.
Oh, there you go. Well, that makes sense.
There's just been some really bland stuff that just doesn't have any flavor.
Really? That's surprising.
No, that's the thing is you think it is Latin America is not all Mexico, right? Mexico's where the spicy stuff is. Everything else down here, everything that's all of South America, they don't do spicy.
Really?
Yeah, nothing spicy. But some of it doesn't even have a flavor or salt or anything. It's just, I don't know. But
they ought to call Gordon Ramsay.
When I first moved here, everybody said, you got to try grits. You're in the South. You got to try grits. Absolutely no flavor, nothing to it. And the texture was terrible. I was like, okay, why do people even eat this?
Grits are awesome. You need a little butter and sugar in there.
I was going to say, you've got to doctor them up. You can't just have plain grits.
Right, but if I'm going to doctor it up, well, then I can just have, if I'm going to put butter and sugar, I'll just have a cupcake, damn it.
Well, you can do that, but grits are better.
Yeah.
Look, I love grits, all right?
Grits are just some goo you put around something else. So, yeah.
It's a flavor delivery device. Grits
If
are
I'm gonna
delicious.
pour a bunch of cinnamon in it, I don't. Why bother with the grits?
Jody and Scott and I, we all agree on this.
Yep.
I don't even know what a coffee crisp is, Jarvis. Hey, there you go. There's your answer from the cultured Ohioan.
Uh,
Yeah. I tried it the one time, and that was it. I was done.
Got to try it again. Go somewhere good.
Nope.
Okay,
Now,
a chocolate bar.
Now I got to go to the store because I'm hungry.
I am too, and I just ate.
coffee flavored chocolate bar. That would be good.
Oh yeah, anything coffee flavored's got to be good, right? It's like half my dietary intake.
But every time I'm in Canada, I basically live on sour cream donuts from Tim Hortons.
There we go. Travis has the right idea. Maple syrup grits. Ooh, I definitely know what I'm doing after this live stream. I have grits upstairs and maple syrup. Yes, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Tomek, you look like you have something you want to say.
Oh no, I'm just over here trying to fight my allergies. Terrible allergies right now in Colorado. So dry.
You should get Tomek more involved. So Tomek, you basically have a new bike that you've built, right? That you've never ridden at this point, or not much.
I've been out a few. Let me close this 1 second.
Oh, there we go. Look, Road Reality, bringing people together. Everybody else does their meetups and sends packages around, and they're going to meet up at VAM and do the trade with the bark and the crisps. Good.
There you go.
And I'll probably be nowhere to be found, as usual.
Yeah, I built a new bike throughout the winter, keep me busy. So she's right behind me. It's a 2023 Yamaha T7.
Have you done videos with that yet?
Oh yeah.
I've done a few.
Yep.
I thought so.
Oh yeah, they're good too.
So I'm hoping maybe a short moto camp weekend, maybe like one night somewhere, do a little cruise and try out some new gear that I bought for this year.
Yeah, I thought I saw a couple of videos of yours with the T7.
Yeah. Tom can ride a bike. Holy cow. He goes places that make me think, yeah, not gonna happen.
See, I already got my room booked for VAM. That's right. Joke's on him. I'm bringing the truck and I'm going to ride on the back of his bike. Can you imagine? Look, if
that would be a great vlog.
It would. If nobody knows Jarvis, he always has 3 or 4 cameras running. He has them powered off the bike, so they just record from the second he turns the bike on to the second he turns it off. And with his 4 and my 5, we will be festooned with cameras. And I'll be able to vlog and drink coffee and smoke cigars and not have to worry about falling on my head. It'll be epic. I'll just ride on the back of his bike.
I was imagining a single camera vlog of just the back of Jarvis's helmet for the entire time while you talk.
No, I've got a unicorn mount for the top of my helmet. I can get a round view.
Oh, Teletubby.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
The Teletubby look.
Yes. Yeah. Whatever a Teletubby is. Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
So, Tom, do you think you're going to like traveling on the Yamaha more than the KTM, or do you think it's going to be a compromise?
Well, I'll have peace of mind that the bike won't break down on me another state over.
Yeah, actually, that's what we were both doing, exactly 1 year ago today, Tom. I'm pretty sure that both of us had broken bikes on our way to meet up on our way to Mexico. We're pretty close to. Because both our bikes broke down trying to get there.
What was your issue? It was in California, right?
Yeah, my stator.
Oh, the stator, right?
Stator
actually, you bought an aftermarket stator that was supposedly better, and the thing crapped out, right?
Yeah.
Mine was actually a little bit more troublesome. I actually ended up buying a new bike just to do that damn trip. Well, new used bike that I could afford.
Same color as your new one.
broke down in New Mexico on the way to meet Dewey in California. So yeah, no more KTM this year. I just want to deal with that. If I had the stacks of cash to just deal with it, it'll be fine. But
yeah, we all have those stacks of cash, right?
let me just tell you that the KTMs, they're amazing machines. They perform fantastic, but it's like a ticking time bomb. You don't know when those things are going to have issues.
And how many miles have you got on the new one?
I still have
How
that.
many miles have you got on that one, Tomek?
I bought that one with 600 miles, like about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I think I clocked about 16,000 on it currently.
Wow.
So yeah, 16,000 on it. I have actually listed on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. So we'll see what happens.
Well, how many miles are on the newest bike?
Oh, new bike. I bought this one. I still bought it used. It's a 2023 model, but I bought it with 1,800 miles, and it currently has 3,100. So I clocked about 1,000 miles on it. But I bought it right when after fall, like right around fall, and the weather got crap. But I'm so happy I did that because it kept me sane in the shack here, just messing with it. By build the bike, it's just adding on little knickknacks like cash bars and little accessories, some suspension upgrades. But it was fun. It just kept me busy, kept the channel somehow alive through the winter.
And you actually rode it in the snow. I've seen those videos.
Somehow alive.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. I'm excited. This is a great 50/50 bike. It's just the engine's fantastic. It's a 700cc parallel twin. It's the CP2 engine. Yamaha's been building this platform, at least the engine, since 2014, and they've been shoving it into the MT7. So it's like the naked bike. And the one thing I was a little bit disappointed about with this bike is it's almost like they sped up the design and just threw this Tenere 700 out, because the engine mounts, there's empty engine mount holes on this bike that actually correctly mount onto the MT7. So when I bought it, I started looking at the engine, like, is there something missing there? Because there's literally an engine mount with, it looks like a screw goes through there. But no, it's just because they had to shift it a little bit. But
that's part sharing. That's part sharing.
Yeah,
I don't think they rushed it together. Wasn't that bike delayed like 5 years? They'd been talking about it and said, we're still developing it. We're still developing it. We're still developing it.
It's so crazy. I don't know what happened. I mean, I feel like we're getting the short end of the stick. The U.S. is getting the short end of the stick now, at least through a lot of these production bikes. Like this bike came out in Europe in 2021, was available on the market. We didn't see it till a couple years, or no, 2020 or I don't know, 19, whatever. But we got a couple years later during pre-COVID, and it was so hyped up in Europe that when it came to the U.S., there was waiting lists at the dealerships. People were paying over MSRP, which is crazy. I mean, the bike was $10,500 brand new. People were paying $12,500, even paying used prices, which is insane. I waited a few years. I mean, if I could have picked this up, you probably would have seen this bike on the channel last couple of years. But in between that time, I've just been kind of shuffling through bikes. Finally found this one used. I think I paid $9 used for it, and with that extra, a couple thousand that I saved, I got to do some of the add-ons, and we'll see. But I'm never satisfied. It's always what's going to be next. I'm already kind of skimming the internet. What's the next bike?
Wow.
Obviously not married.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. I'm like, I always go out for a ride. My wife will remind me if it's a weekend. She's like, if I'm commuting, she knows it's not a problem. But on the weekend, she's like, remember, you're on operation. Don't come home on a new bike. The Minister of Finances says so. I go, I grumble, and yeah, I come home on the same old street glide.
Just a little quick side note. You put out John, you put out a video that a Harley Davidson dealership was closing close to you.
Yeah, it's the one that did the suspension for me and the 25K service.
So get this, there's a Harley Davidson dealership that closed next to me in Frederick. It's the same owner.
Wow.
he's retiring, and he has sold or he has closed them or sold them. I don't know, but
Really?
I was reading an article, and then the article states like, "Oh, this owner's also closing his Maryland dealership," and it kind of like clicked. Oh, it's probably the same owner.
Oh, wow.
We had multiple.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Tomek, what town did you say that dealer was in near you?
Frederick.
And John, what town is it in the?
It's Frederick, Maryland, too.
That's a riot.
I like the name Frederick. I'm gonna buy.
I'll just buy a dealer in every Frederick I can find.
Right. Wow. I wonder if that's all he has, or if there's more, and he's closing every single one.
Could be. I'm Googling it now. The one in Metro Denver?
All right, Patrick, you got to carry the conversation while John Googles.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a question for Dewey. Speaking about bikes, what does the future hold for the CRF 250? Is it going to be up on a mantle in the living room?
It might be. I think it'll probably get parked in the garage. I'll probably have too much attachment.
I'm guessing you're not going to ever get rid of that bike.
One, it would be hard to sell it when you go, hey, you want a CRF 250 with 60,000 miles?
Yeah, exactly.
When there's ones out there with 2,000 miles.
Right.
Yeah, I think there'll be an attachment where but maybe someday, I don't know. We'll see. Right. I really hope that Honda brings out like a 400 or a 450 rally that has long service intervals, not like the current 450. I really liked my DR, but after riding this little 250 as far as I have and through some of the stuff I have, it's a phenomenal little machine. I would just like a little bit more power than it has. If they would really make the same platform with a 400cc engine that had 35, 38 horsepower, I'd be all over it. I'd buy one in a heartbeat. But yeah,
when you get home and you're able, you'll need to buy a place and have a storage area where you put the bike and you put up 100,000 pictures from your trip and just have it be your travel museum.
There's the pictures. There's that. There's also, I still have my original, the very first motorcycle that I ever bought. I still have. It's a 1982 Honda 450, and a number of years ago, and it's been sitting, and it'll get. I have a plan for it. A number of years ago, I looked at what world speed record classes for Bonneville it would fit into, and I found one class where the speed record was only 102 miles an hour. Wow. Which there's a chance that bike could get to 102 miles an hour. It's it's not a for sure thing, but it's not out of the possibility.
Wow.
So that's been one of the things I keep saying I'm going to go do it one of these years. Is I'm going to do all the safety stuff that it needs to qualify, and then I want to go do Bonneville on it. And my theory is that if a motorcycle sets a land speed record, you can justify putting that bike in your living room.
I don't even think it has to do that.
Yeah.
I think just having the bike, you can put it in your living room.
Yeah. But that's, yes. So, there may be, I'm definitely going to need parking. I get attached to things that have kind of some special meaning to me, and this
just
bike might have that.
Dewey Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say the new one, the CRF, should be a museum piece. You should park that in your living room, all shined up, and this is the bike I took to South America.
But you don't want it shined up either, because that takes some of the charm away too.
Yep.
Okay, fine. Leave the patina on it.
Yep. Yeah,
the patina stays. As soon as I get to Donkey Sunrise again in Colombia, Jorge there will clean that bike and it'll be like it was brand new. He does such a great job.
Jarvis is volunteering to work on your bike, by the way.
It actually, Jarvis, funny enough, it doesn't need much. Basically, all I have to do is safety wire everything that needs to be safety wired to be legal. and I need to put in a fuel kill switch. So I need to put in a solenoid that will close if the dead man circuit gets pulled on the bike. That's basically all I have to do, and then I just need to go run. I just need to pick the time and go do it.
How far is Bonneville from Portland?
Probably by trailer, because I'd be trailering it there. You're not going to just ride what you're going to run.
No.
Yeah, no, it's probably 10 to 14 hours, somewhere between 10 and 14 hours, I think.
Oh, solid day then.
Yeah, it's a full day, but it's not multiple days. I could do it in one day.
I follow a channel called Flat Cap Cafe Racer, and he races at the Bonneville Salt Flats. And he's in a process right now of testing some bikes to get ready to go to Bonneville. And he wanted to check the stability of one of the bikes. And he got on some kind of hard packed dirt road near his house. And somebody rode the bike at about 160 miles an hour to test it. I'm like, wow.
That's speedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I figure, the first time if I'm going to go to Bonneville and try it, going on a bike that maybe is going to do between 90 and 100 miles an hour and maybe over 100 if I'm really lucky is probably the way to go, not something fast. So I think it'd be a fun experience, I think, to go do and try, and whether it sets a record or not, or ever it does, that doesn't matter.
Another check mark on the motorcycle resume.
Right.
Yeah. I saw a guy on a Harley Street Glide with a cup holder smoking a cigar doing north of 100 on his bike. Saw that on YouTube one time.
But you were on the highway, not a dry lake bed.
Right.
I wasn't there. It wasn't me. It was somebody else. I swear.
There was the Flat Cap Racer guy last year. He actually crashed doing one of the speed runs.
Oh.
Yeah, that didn't end real well. But he's okay. But it wasn't good that day, that particular day.
Yeah, Travis has it, allegedly.
Alleged. Yep. That's why I said this guy said somebody went about 160 miles an hour.
Yeah. In Mexico. Somewhere in
Mexico.
Yeah. There's a number of American motovloggers that do testing of speed in Mexico.
Yep.
I've never been.
I'm pretty sure Tomac and I made a few jokes about that.
Oh, I think you did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was good times.
But that was fun.
Now, Tomac needs to join you on the East Coast when you get back and ride up with you.
On the East Coast. Yeah, I was thinking, what did I miss? There's something called Spring Fling. Have you guys heard of that?
That was last weekend, I think.
That was last weekend. Have you ever been to that, Patrick?
No.
Desiree actually was just there.
Oh,
so
Desiree was there.
You can text her. But yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that one, yeah. Except, to get from here to that, where is that?
Arkansas,
right?
Yeah.
The southern tip of Arkansas. My ride would be pretty much straight through Kansas. So not the feeling,
Sleep on the bike.
Yeah, exactly.
Does your dad still have the FJR?
Yeah, he does actually. And
borrow the FGR for that, man. That thing will rip across Kansas in a couple hours.
Let's see. He actually purchased.
What year is his FJR?
Oh, FJR, it is a 2003.
Okay. Mitchell and I have been talking a little bit recently about the fact that I may need to look into something like a Concourse or an FJR.
Concourse.
I'm just pushing this Goldwing too hard, and my pegs are not working, and yeah.
What about one of the big BMs?
A little bit.
I'm sorry?
Are you scraping a little bit on the pegs?
Yeah, more than a little.
Well, really? Wow. Okay.
I've scraped the center stand. I've scraped the cowling. I've destroyed that underside of the bike. I get into the corners too much and I lean too far. And I just replaced my old foot pegs with some of the Gold Strike. They're like mini pads almost. And yeah, it's not good. I'm skateboarding the bike because I'm leaning it too far.
Right.
So
Stop doing that.
Have you
I need
thought
a
about like
concourse or something.
have you thought about maybe a used K1600? That
I don't know if I want to do
K
that.
bike will rip.
Right, but I think I want to stick with like Kawasaki or and some of them kind of scare me off because of the maintenance and how much it would cost. And um,
It's free. It's the coffee at the dealer that's expensive.
All I can tell you, I owned an FJR before, a 2010, and my father's a 03. Low maintenance, and I don't think there's even been a valve check on one of those bikes, which everyone that I talked to that has been a valve check, they were fine at the interval of like 20,000 or whatever. But my father's has like 50,000 miles right now currently on it, and
loving it.
Drive,
With that, I need to go help my son on his bike for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a proven platform, but I don't know if it's Goldwing comfortable. I think you got to get into like the K bikes to get that full on Goldwing comfort and luggage and all of that. Plus,
well, also one thing, FJR, you're a little bit sport bike position. Nothing crazy.
It's a little bit more forward. No, it's not like riding a sport bike or even a naked. It's a pretty comfortable spot. I can't ride them though. I don't like the FJRs. Well, none of the big sport tours I can ride because I'm such a small guy that I'm still stretched out, all funny on them. They're too long for me.
They're always too tall for me.
The tall doesn't bother me because I only need 3/4 of a foot to be able to do it. You just go to one side or the other, and
Dewey, you were talking about a 450. I don't know. I may have mentioned this before to you. The CF Moto.
Yeah. The question is whether I want a CF Moto or not, or it's like I said. I mean, the thing is that when you ride different motorcycles, Hondas are always so easy to ride, always so easy to ride.
Mm-hmm.
They just do stuff that makes it easy to ride that you don't know. That's what I've been amazed about with this bike is it just makes everything easy, and it's not just the weight; it's the way that Honda does everything. It's just easy.
Question, Tomac, probably you help me the most here. Mitchell's working on taking the front sprocket off of his 1985 Honda. And when he goes to spin the bolt out to get the sprocket off, of course, the whole sprocket's spinning because he already took the back tire off. Is there a way to pop that bolt without putting the back tire back on, or we got to put it back on?
You try to put it in gear? Will it still pop if it's in first or second?
Yeah, he can't get it into gear.
Really?
Put the chain around it and attach the chain to something that you can get enough leverage to hold it to break the bolt with.
Okay. Yeah, we were going to actually put the tire close enough to where I could actually hold the tire and try to break it. The rear tire, the rear sprocket.
Yeah.
So,
and there's
it's the front sprocket though, right? You're trying to get the front sprocket bolt off?
Right.
So the chain if you just have to wrap the chain around it and put something on the chain.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to end up putting the rear tire back, the rear sprocket, and then use like a 2x4, like Road Glide Andy said, to hold it in place. Yeah.
You have a little impact to like.
An impact would do it.
Okay.
Because then you wouldn't really have to hold it too much. Just have it in first or something that impacts you, like,
There you go.
I'll just remove the non-mechanic from the chat.
Yeah. Well, and remove me from the chat because I'm going to help him.
Hopefully he's got that. Usually they have like a little safety, right? Pin too, tapped in. Not the pin, but I'm sure he saw the little lock. But and I don't know how old that bike is, but
yeah, Jarvis is right though. Impact neutral only. Don't have it in. Well, he said he can't get it into gear though. I think so. It's got to be in neutral. So.
Yeah, I don't do any of that stuff.
I'm surprised you don't, John.
I don't have the time, space, tools, or knowledge to work on these things.
Talking to the guy that has like 2,000 Lego sets built, I don't have the time.
Well, I don't have the time where I'm outside and I can do a job in a day and not have any distractions because the kids always have something going on, the honey-do list, et cetera, et cetera. If I had a covered,
day.
I don't have a covered space to put a bike that's half taken apart.
That's what matters more, because it doesn't have to be a day. You can take a week, you can take 2 weeks, you can take 6 months to do it. If you
All I gotta say is this thing's so easy to work on compared to the KTM.
If I did that on the Harley, I'd run out of content to publish, and that would be no good. What would my 5 viewers think? At this point, I'm only sitting on 22 videos uploaded, ready to go. I mean, we have to think of the viewers here.
I don't know how you record as much as you do.
I actually recorded a DaVinci Resolve tutorial, edited it, and uploaded it last night in under an hour. It's speed, man. It's just like, have an idea. I've got the tabletop arm mount here. I put the Nikon on it. I've already got the settings dialed in. I just hit the button, record the screen, go far, go fast, edit, done. Yeah, there you go.
There's a front sprocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Once you get that loose, it's easy to get off. This one's actually really bad. Look at how bent that is.
Well, the problem is when the big nut is, if it's in neutral and you took the chain and the rear tire off, then you got nothing to get.
Yeah,
but yeah. Well,
when the rear tire's on, you just get to have the chain back or whatever.
Rick nailed it with the wood. If you could get a 2x4 jammed in there, the teeth will bite into it and then just do.
Talking about bikes coming out late in the U.S., at least I know CF Moto as well released the MT and almost around the world, and then we're going to get it here in the fall.
Yeah, I've been surprised how many CF Moto dealers I've seen down here. They're pretty popular down here.
For those of you that don't know, CF Moto is like a big Chinese producer of, well, actually all kinds of motorcycles, ATVs. And I'm kind of eyeing them. I'm not lying. Like, they're actually, I think the quality is slowly going up with some of these brands. And
I saw a CF Moto video recently, and it was nice. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, and they're just coming to market, so who knows how long these bikes will hold up or. Well, by the way, KTM, CF Moto produces a few of their engines.
Only the small ones, right? The 390 series.
390 and also the 790.
They're making the 790s now. Huh?
Yeah, the engines, and I believe they're using that same engine in one of their bikes. Which, I mean, KTM is like also kind of not the best reliability, but.
Yeah, I mean, give KTM their due. It's usually not their manufacturing problems. It's they over-engineer things. They make it too complicated, and they have crappy electronics.
Did they hire Lucas to make the electronics for them?
No, but
yeah. So the only issue with my bike that I had was all fuel pump issue. It was actually the fuel pump regulator went out on the whole.
What? I thought they put that in though. Weren't your injectors bad too, or a couple injectors?
No idea what they were doing. They replaced the injectors for no reason.
It was all the regulator at the end of the day.
It was all the regulator. It was all backwards. So I spent another $700 with those idiots. If I would have just kept the bike, I dropped off the bike at the dealer because I was going on the trip with Dewey in Mexico. I was just so pissed off. So I was like, I'm going to drop it off, have him fix it, and when I get back, I'll pick up the bike and sell it.
Hi, Jody.
So I got back to Mexico a month later. They're still not done fixing the bike. I got to the dealer and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's finished." So I pay. I go get the bike and it's still like bogging really strange. It's like idling really strange, bogging down at throttle. So I turn back around, pull in. Getting back the bike, and lo and behold, all it was a fuel pressure regulator. So if I would have just spent like a week or two by myself, just browsing forums, talking to people, I could have done the swap myself instead of dishing out $1,000 at the dealer. But Yeah, you live, you
Mm.
learn.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a Harley dealer near us that likes to push things out for several weeks. And even when it does, even when they
Yeah.
do come pick it up for the service, you call in the next day and say, "Oh, what'd you find?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, he won't get to it till next week." I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's not what I signed up for." So I have switched dealers now, and the video is obviously months out, but I took my bike in for the 30K service, and they had it done and back to me the next day. And I was like, hell yeah, this is great.
What's your hourly rate there for Harley?
Oh,
180,
I think it's $150.
$150? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Patrick, welcome back.
Thanks. I'm dirty.
Is the sprocket off?
We did.
Did you hold it?
No, I'm not. That wasn't strong enough.
Come
I
on,
took an old tire iron and put it over the swing arms,
Oh, perfect.
and he muscled it off.
There
there you go.
Little ingenuity.
Yep. I will say,
Hi,
back to
Jody.
that conversation, I did do the oil change on my Kawasaki's myself, but it's been a while. I might have to do it again this year.
I just changed the oil on the Goldwing, and I've still got to do it on the V-Strom.
Well, I need to do a coolant and brake flush and lube the cables. And I have the little motion. I have the Motion Pro thing for the cables. I just haven't figured it out yet.
Oh, they're super easy.
But it's
a little Motion Pro.
Yeah, I get that. I need to go to YouTube University, and then the brake and coolant flush is going to be the hardest part. So I don't know. I thought of taking it to a local shop and saying, "Here, just do a full service on it."
That's
For your
what
Harley coolant?
For the
main reason I
Kawasaki.
do it is the air filter.
Oh yeah, they designed the Goldwing around the air filter.
Air filter.
Yeah, I've heard the horror stories on that. It's like you got to remove 17 bits of plastic and 48 bolts and jack the motor up and remove the front wheel and remove the license plate, and then you have access to it.
And actually, the V-Strom isn't a whole lot better. It's under the gas tank.
Yeah,
Oh.
V-Strom. A lot of stuff on the V-Strom is not that easy to work on.
Exactly.
It looks like it should be, but it's not.
It does. It looks like it's all right there, but nope. All kinds of.
Where's the CRF? CRF's like on the side, a pop box for the air filter.
CRF? Yeah. The only thing because I have the Rally, I have to take one of the plastic panels off because it's got all the plastic on the Rally.
Okay.
But I only have to take one of the panels off, and then it's behind that panel, and you just pop it out. And then I put a Twin Air foam filter in, and I have a second pre-filter. So most of the time I just pop the pre-filter off, put the other pre-filter on, wash it when I get a chance, and oil it and put it back in its bag and wait for it. So when I want to, I can just swap it.
What's that called again? The air filter you mentioned?
Twin Air.
Twin Air. Oh, okay, yeah. Meerkat recommended that for my Tenor.
But this is top tip for anybody if you ride any kind of dirt bike, anything. Twin Air Australia and Twin Air USA are not the same company, and their products are not the same. If you're going to order it, make sure you order it from Twin Air Australia and get the real one that's done better. Somebody realized that Twin Air wasn't copyrighted in the US or trademarked in the US.
Gotcha. There's knockoff. Pretty much.
And they're making a knockoff with the same name because it wasn't protected in the US. So Twin Air US is not the same, and they don't have the same fitments. They're not the same designs and styles. So make sure you order them from Australia if you order one.
Yeah. Evil Rick, I agree.
Yeah. You know what? I think my air filters on both my bikes are on the side, but they should make them like they did my old KZ, because you basically lift the seat up and like air filters there, batteries there, the carbs are right under the tank. You can get to them without removing the tank. I think you can rebuild that whole bike sitting on the side of the road.
Yeah, although I mean, really for a street bike though, you do an air filter once a year. Do it over the winter when you have the time, and it's not that big of a deal. It's not like when you're riding dirt bikes and things off road, then you have to do them. If you go on a really bad ride, and especially if you're behind somebody like Tomac who kicks up a lot of dirt all the time, then you have to do your air filter right away.
Yep. Yep. And same with riding behind Roger here. Yep. Same thing.
Problems I don't have. 4 bolts or 1 bolt and the air filter's off. Put a new one in, put the cover back on, keep riding. I don't go in the dirt.
But that's one of the things I did on this bike was everything that I knew was going to have to be replaced regularly got something reusable put in it. So even the oil filter is a reusable oil filter. So I can clean it out with gas, let it dry, put it back in. I don't have to source one because that can be, you could be stuck somewhere for weeks if you need to do an oil change in some places and there's no Honda dealers anywhere around you, waiting for an oil filter. You could be there forever. Or then you start going, how far do I want to push this? How far do I want to ride it on this oil before, I can find one? And so I don't have to worry about it. You can buy oil that you can find anywhere. But all the other stuff is all replaceable or serviceable.
That's good. Thinking ahead. Somebody who actually plans ahead.
I've been there before. Right? That's the,
Speaking of which, guys, I'm going to get off of here because he still needs some more help.
Yeah, well, I probably should get going too. We're at an hour. We're an hour and 45 minutes in.
Exactly.
Probably.
So let's go ahead and end this one. Any final thoughts, Tomek?
Nope.
Okay. Patrick?
I just, I envy you. I just think it's amazing what you're doing. I'm looking forward to even more of the videos and just truly enjoying living vicariously through you.
Great. Dewey?
Yeah, well, Patrick, I'm happy to share it. I'm happy to share it with everybody, right? That's the point. But thanks everybody who watched and watches all of our videos. It's something that everybody gets to choose to do. You don't have to. And, that's definitely appreciated by all of us. I think I speak for all of us when I say that.
Yes.
And if you have any questions that come up, feel free to probably reach out to any of us. And we, I think all of us are happy to answer stuff. We don't have we don't have that much going on.
I do. I have a lot going on.
Except for him, don't message him.
No, do message me, but only with editing questions. I don't know anything about motorbikes. But hey, I want to thank everybody in the side chat and especially our esteemed panel tonight. We've got Dewey and Patrick and Tomek. Go subscribe to their channels. Their links are in the video description below. They were posted in the side chat a while ago. And so once again, I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. This was a lot of fun. And ride safe, stay healthy, stay happy. That's Patrick's deal. Dewey says, I'll see you in the next video. Tomek just ends his with an info card. So bye.
See ya.
See y'all.